Hello my fellow humans. I'm W.Paige and I want to welcome you back to my brand new art channel. Today I am adding leaves to the juicy peach drawing from my previous video. This is a pretty straightforward process that anyone can follow along with, and I'm going to show how you too can achieve lovely, realistic leaves of any kind using very minimal tools, and I'll show you how it can be done in just a few steps. I follow these same steps for pretty much any type of leaf I draw. I say leaf because each leaf has its own individual character regardless of what type of leaf you're drawing. No two leaves on the same plant are exactly identical, and this means drawing realistic leaves gives you a lot of creative freedom. They don't require perfection and you can create them all using the same steps. Please keep in mind, there's no right way to go about drawing anything. However, as a seasoned color pencil artist, I can say it does requires patience and practice, and I'm just showing you my process. One very important thing you need when attempting realistic drawings is a high-resolution reference image that you constantly refer to as you draw. The more you draw, you may begin to notice patterns in your own processes that you are following without even noticing. One of my goals for this channel is to take those patterns that I've been able to acknowledge in my art and share them with you all. As a beginner artist, these sorts of videos helped me by giving me a foundation to start developing my own processes over time. One day about 6 years ago someone asked me, if I could sketch something for a painting, why couldn't I draw the same things in detail? At this point, I had never really tried to because I always thought I'd be terrible at it. I decided to give myself a challenge. Although I absolutely hated colored pencils and it was the very last medium I reached for, I still wanted to create realistic colored pencil art like some of the artists here on YouTube. One of those artists advised beginners who wanted to create realistic colored pencil art to learn basic concepts like value and temperature using graphite and charcoal first. This was the very best advice because once you learn the importance of value in the absence of color, it's so much easier to add color to the mix later. You learn it doesn't really matter what colors you actually use. If the values are there, the drawing will look realistic. If you are a beginner, drawing with graphite can really help you master color pencils. I hope to post some of my graphite drawings for that purpose in the future. For this tutorial, let's quickly talk about materials. I'll be using a mixture of Prismacolor colored pencils, polychromos colored pencils, optional odorless mineral spirits, a small paintbrush, kneaded eraser, and an optional jelly roll pen for any bright highlights. I'll be using cheap watercolor paper, but that's just my preference today. The only colors you need are a few green shades, yellow, white, and a dark color like brown, dark blue, or black. As long as you use a decent quality drawing paper, and you keep your pencil sharpened while using light pressure, you can achieve similar results. However, the best thing to do is to test your materials. Practice layering different shades and figure out how durable your paper is. This is also something I do when I'm trying to color match a reference photo to see what colors I can achieve by mixing different pencil brands and colors together to avoid destroying the actual artwork. So with that, let's get ready to create. For step 1, I used a 3H pencil for my sketch. Then, I used a kneaded eraser to remove most of the graphite so it doesn't make my colors muddy. Once this is done, for the second step, I'm using a light yellow and yellow-green to shade in each leaf with very light pressure. I'm careful to preserve some of the white paper depending where the light source is coming from in my reference image. You can blend these shades with a cream color. I'll continue to switch between these colors and slowly build up a couple of layers.
Apply white where brighter highlights should be. You can also use these same colors to slightly shade the stem now. For step 3, use a mid-shade green. In this case, Prismacolor, grass green, to lightly outline each leaf and stem along with the vein that runs through the middle of each leaf. This will give you a guideline for the direction of shadows and help show you where they will fall later because each shadow leads back to that middle stem. Using the same green shades, I'm shading some darker portions on all the leaves where I see larger shadows. It's important to apply enough pigment in highlighted areas with a light yellow or white as well as the areas in shadow for the next step to work properly. You just want to make sure you have at least a couple of smooth layers covering the entire area before the next application. I must say, this fourth step is my favorite, but it's completely optional. I'm using odorless mineral spirits. It does make your colored pencils appear more vibrant using less pressure on your paper and makes varnishing easier. When I use OMS, I use a heavier paper so that I can add several layers over the top without damaging the paper. You can totally continue to build these layers depending on how many layers your paper can hold and still achieve beautiful, smooth drawings. The solvent can just speed the process along. I actually draw without it myself all the time. Again, play around with your tools and test some gradient swatches with the solvent beforehand. You can group the colors used for each swatch so you'll know exactly what colors you use to create them later. Now for step 5. I am using that same grass green to map the veins and sort of shade the portions of the leaves between each vein. The shadow just below and just above each vein will usually need a little shadow. Don't panic if you get pigment on some parts of these veins because it will help your drawing appear more realistic in the end. Step 6. I'm going to now shade the stalk and stem a little more using olive green, some burnt ochre, yellow, and the polychromous walnut brown. Now I'll also add some cast shadows under the leaves for step 7. Then, use a colorless blender to blend these shadows and to further varnish the paper. If you don't have a colorless blender, you can use a cheap white color pencil to blend these. Adding details to any stalk allows us a lot of creative freedom. Once your values are in place, it's a stress-free process and the marks you make really don't matter much. Step 8 lands us in the home stretch. You can use a dark blue, like indigo blue, to further deepen shadows wherever necessary. At this phase you can add as many details to the leaves as your heart desires. Then, use a colorless blender to blend these shadows and to further varnish the paper. Once you're content with the shadows, for step 9 you can use a white gel pen to add the brightest highlights. This step will make your drawing pop. For step 10, I add some final cast shadows onto the peach below and make sure every area is as smooth as possible. And voila, here's the finished product. I hope you have enjoyed this little tutorial. If you want to help my channel grow, please like this video and share it with someone who'd find value in it. Also, let me know what I should draw next in the comments and hit the bell so you won't miss any new content. If you complete this drawing, please send it to me at w.PaigeCreates@gmail.com because I'd love to see it. Thanks guys and happy creating. Bye.